All right. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all the delegates, the honorable judges, honorable chairman, His Excellencies Dimas Sukma-Hawkins, His Excellencies Hino Samuel Jose, His Excellencies Rafiansyah, His Excellencies Romeo Matthew, and all the delegates, welcome to ASEAN Summit, Sunday in the 19th of December 2021. In this summit, we have several agenda that we called in this meeting. The first agenda is opening remarks from Secretary General, which will represent by the Deputy of Secretary General. The second agenda is press release, which we call the joint statement live streaming. And the third is closing remarks from head of government in ASEAN meeting. Then closing remarks from ASEAN Regional Forum Minister. And then we have gossip box. And the next agenda is documentation sessions, and the last is closing sessions. So we made these sessions will as fast as we can. So you can take a break more and more, because in the next day we have other agenda, which is our closing ceremony, and you will get your reward. And we held our awarding sessions in tomorrow, not for today. So we just have assessment for this day. We read all of your draft statement, final draft statement that you already discussed in each countries, in each pillars and councils. So next, I would like to read the ASEAN Summit terms. First, during the ASEAN Summit, participants are expected to turn on their camera and turn on their microphone to keep the event conducive. The second one is for delegate meeting, it has been recommended to use the virtual background provided by committee. The third one is during the meeting, the delegate can use the chat box to write everything regarding express their expressions. Next, delegate expected to join the ASEAN Summit until the end of meeting. Last but not least, ASEAN Summit will be part of the press release of the ASEAN meeting and RF meeting. So please turn on your camera, and we also can look at each other and relate to each other. Next. First agenda, I welcome the closing remarks from Deputy Secretary General of Model ASEAN Meeting Universitas Pertamina 2021, Bayu Rizky Damarian. Bayu Rizky Damarian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
The time and the screen is yours.
All right, thank you, MC. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Best wishes to all of us. Praise and gratitude we pray to God Almighty for His blessing and grace. We are all still give strength, health, and success in carrying our activities during COVID-19 pandemic. Although our movement and activities during this pandemic have become limited, we are all still enthusiastic about carrying out all activities on this happy day. I express my sincere gratitude for the willingness of the jury, all of the chairman, head of government, meeting secretary, delegate, and committee to attend a series of our meetings. From morning to evening today, thank you for the participation, discussion, and agreements that have been agreed upon during today's and yesterday's meetings. I hope that consequences that we have built today can be implemented by each country in the future. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the Deputy Secretary General of Model ASEAN Meeting Universitas Pertamina. We move to the next agenda, please, committee. Next slide. All right. In this agenda, we will show the press release, final statement, ASEAN meeting, and IRF meeting. And I will welcome His Excellencies Hino Samuel Jose to read Hino Samuel Jose and His Excellencies Romeo Matthew to read the ASEAN meeting final statement. And I will stop the screen. Committee, please stop the screen. I will share the final statement of ASEAN meeting. Mr. Samuel Jose and
Yes.
Mr. Romeo Matthew, are you there?
Yes, we are here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So you guys from the committee will share screen the statement, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. While we're waiting for the screen share, first of all, I'd like to convey a news from His Excellency Ambassador Dimas Sukma Hopkins. I cannot attend this meeting right now because he has other engagement. But nevertheless, me and Romeo Matthew, our beloved handsome chairman from the IC, the nominated handsome chairman, will become the reader. Pertaining to the situation where we have 80 clauses, the chair will not be rereading all of the clauses. We only read the header clauses, so we will not be reading the sub clauses. So therefore, to all delegates, Please pay attention and read on your own independently if you guys wishes to see over the details. I think it's already on the WhatsApp group. After this, we'll proceed to the AR statement. And for the AR statement will be read by Mr. Rafliansha, His Excellency Rafliansha from ARF. Okay, can you zoom in the PDF? Thank you. Yes, okay. Chairman statement of the Model ASEAN Meeting Pertamina University 2021, Brunei Darussalam, 18 to 19 December 2021, via video conference with the agenda of connectivity as strategy on recovering from COVID-19. Paragraph 1, we, the heads of state or government of the ASEAN member state IMS, gathered for the Model ASEAN Meeting Universitas Pertamina 2021 on 18 to 19 December 2021. The agenda of the meeting is the connectivity as strategy on recovering from COVID-19 that is shared by the Kingdom of Brunei Darussalam virtually by video conference. And realizing under the theme of We Care, we Prepare, We Prosper ASEAN in 2021, we underscore the need to enhance ASEAN's unity, cooperation, solidarity, economic integration, ASEAN awareness, identity, and emphasize the importance of promoting ASEAN proactiveness and capacity in seizing opportunities, as well as in addressing the challenges brought by the rapid changes in the regional and global landscape. 3, we recognize the unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic in the region and the world. We noted with grave concern the human costs and socio-economic impacts of COVID-19 and reaffirm our commitment to implementing targeted policies to assure our peoples that ASEAN is at the forefront of this critical battle and future crisis. Number 4, paragraph 4, we acknowledge the ongoing whole of government efforts of ASEAN member states and commended ASEAN's collective response thus far through a holistic, multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral approach. Paragraph 5, hereby recalling all relevant ASEAN frameworks in combating COVID-19, promoting vaccine security, building economic resilience, and promoting the freedom of expression in ASEAN. With the ASEAN political security community stipulating on the theme of on-countering vaccine apartheid by asserting the security of vaccine supply among ASEAN member states. Paragraph 6, we recall the Global Vaccine Action Plan, GVAP, endorsed by the World Health Assembly in 2012, the ASEAN Leaders Declaration on ASEAN Vaccine Security and Self-Reliance, the ASEAN Post-2015 Health Development Agenda, and the ASEAN Health Cluster 3, which is strengthening health system and access to care. Scroll down, please. Paragraph 7, recognize that the ongoing pandemic of COVID-19 has severely impacted communities in AMS and resulted in continued human costs and suffering, as well as severe disruption to societies and economies. Pleased by the promising response and commitment of ASEAN communities as we slowly recover from the pandemic. Acknowledges that the central role of vaccine plays in, acknowledges that central role vaccine plays in combating the ongoing pandemic of COVID-19, and that ensuring accessibility to vaccines is crucial in aiding ASEAN's recovery from COVID-19. Reiterates that the importance of a strong, comprehensive regional plan of action to combat COVID-19 in the region, which requires joint efforts and commitment from AMS to cooperate in the eradication of COVID-19 in the region. Notes with concern the increasing scarcity of vaccines in ASEAN that occurs due to the challenges in vaccine security from manufacturing complexities, supply chain constraints, and limited long-term forecasting that would require joint efforts to address. Recall that in accordance with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF vaccine security has been defined as the sustained, uninterrupted, and a timely supply of affordable vaccine of secured quality, of which the elements include a guaranteed procurement of vaccines through firm contacts with manufacturers and by a secured multi-year allocation for finance and long-term accurate forecast of vaccine requirements. Express deep regret in the insufficient framework of vaccine cooperation currently available, which has resulted in unavailability of vaccines in certain communities in AMS and the formation of a gap of vaccine availability among less economically developed countries in comparison to their developed counterpart as a result of the pandemic and global economic systems causing vast inequalities. Emphasize that this inequality must be resolved as soon as possible in order to effectively combat the pandemic and move towards a rapid regional recovery outlined in the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework, ACRF, and its implementation plan. 14, reiterate point 1 of the ACRF to enhance health system and welcome the continued contribution of AMS and external partners to realizing this through the COVID-19 ASEAN Response Fund, which has pledged approximately $25.8 million with $10.5 million to be used for the procurement of COVID-19 vaccine for the peoples of AMS and ASEAN Secretariat staff through UNICEF, which will begin in early 2022. Reaffirm ASEAN commitment to maintaining and promoting security and stability, prosperity in the region, as well as cooperation for resolution of regional challenges, including respect for human safety and health security in accordance with applicable international law. And the first to effectively reach regional and nationally set targets for accelerating vaccination among AMS and support the mission of Declaration for ASEAN Vaccine Security and Self-Reliance, AVSSR, by identifying it as a priority strategy for health and security in ASEAN in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as for preparedness for any potential future pandemics. Scroll down, please. Bear with me, delegates. Establishes a joint task force for the procurement and production of quality COVID-19 vaccines to be distributed fairly across AMS, enforces regional vaccine mandates across borders to ensure rapid vaccination against COVID-19 and immunization of infectious disease of all ASEAN citizens in order to totally eradicate the threat of COVID-19 and other infectious disease in the region, with strict policy enforcement by ASEAN governments to be implemented to ensure this is carried out. Promotes cooperation among AMS and vaccine manufacturers to ensure the steady supply of COVID-19 vaccines and the vaccine materials to ensure self-reliance of ASEAN vaccine production. Support rapid industrialization of ASEAN national health services and partner with national and private parties to aid in the rapid production and a balanced distribution of COVID-19 vaccine in the region, and therefore calls for the mobilization and strengthening of the proposed ASEAN-China ad hoc health ministers joint task force and our relevant ASEAN regional dialogue partners, including current established COVID-19 vaccine partnership frameworks such as COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access, COVAX, in order to better cooperate against vaccine apartheid and promote greater vaccine security in the region. And therefore tasks also the duties of the relevant ASEAN ministers that are responsible for all public health and relevant matters to monitor and evaluate the implementation of this joint task force and develop appropriate mechanism and platform for the implementation of AVSSR strategic action plan during the COVID-19 pandemic, encourages the implementation of national regulatory reforms for eradicating vaccine misinformation and to reconcile political dissent over vaccine mandates in the region to ensure that security of AMS citizens and implement a range of fair and just punishment for the spreading of vaccine misinformation and violation of vaccine mandates and health protocol to prevent further spreading of vaccine misinformation, vaccine hesitancy, vaccine mandate violation. Here, the strategies are involve the following efforts through the subclause A that I will not be reading to save time. Scroll down. B, C, the others. Paragraph 25 invites AMS to establish a protocol for redefining misinformation and free speech boundaries and legal definition and decide on how AMS shall respond to it in times of crisis as we transition from the pandemic ends. In doing so, it requires strategic implementation of norm setting in AMS, which will meet paragraph 26 alongside with its sub-clauses. 26 urges quick response of vaccine mobilization by prioritizing the critical areas with rampant increase of COVID-19 cases through monitoring and tracking the progress of the pandemic in AMS. This must be done holistically through the establishment of the ASEAN COVID-19 Vaccination Preparedness and Response Program, ACVPRP, which will serve to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Scroll down, please. H, 27 recommends the establishment of the International Security Act, ASEAN ISA, to prevent any external security threats to COVID-19 pandemic, such as terrorist threat to vaccine supply chain by establishing coordinated counterterrorism efforts and regional policing and military security of borders to prevent smuggling of illicit drugs and unsanctioned vaccine supplies. Therefore, calls on the waiver of intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccine as a necessary security measure to allow for rapid decentralized production of vaccines to ensure public health security is prioritized over economic gains. IMS shall file this request to the World Trade Organization and TRIPS parties to ensure global access to COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing rights, with the emphasizement of the promotion of vaccination procurement transparency among AMS and confidence-building measures that coordinate vaccine reports on a 3-monthly basis through the ASEAN Health Ministers Meeting, AHMM, and the ASEAN Ad Hoc Health Ministers Joint Task Force. And lastly, in order to achieve the goal, we support efforts of further ASEAN integration in strengthening regional health security to promote better preparedness and response for future pandemic through the establishment of an integrated regional center for disease prevention and control. And then I would like to pass to His Excellency Romeo Matthew for the ASEAN Economic Community. Romeo, over to you.
Thank you, His Excellency Jose. Now we're going into the ASEAN Economic Community. ASEAN Economic Community, with the theme of establishing ASEAN nations' economic cooperation towards a future economic resilience. 31, noting with deep concern that the ASEAN member states' AMS domestic manufacturing, distribution, and market capacities shares and size in substantiating intra-ASEAN trade cooperation. 32, realizing the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the domestic resilience, regional supply chain, and the global value chain that are so tremendous, which may affect sustainable recovery vision in ASEAN. 33, encouraging deeper engagement with multi-stakeholder collaboration in supporting the vision of regional shared prosperity, connectivity, and integrity against future economic challenges. 34, recognizing that the United States-China trade war has severely impacted the regional economic resilience. 35, adopts the comprehensive ASEAN-China capital and trade enhancement as a prime resilience building solution, and to deeper further economic integration of ASEAN +1 region with the People's Republic of China, with the subclass of A, B, C, D, E, and F. 36, recommends further, all right, we're waiting for the scrolling down, yeah. Recommends further ASEAN member states to improve the country's economic structure by encouraging investment in new technologies, such as next generation automobile productions, digital e-commerce, and promoting comprehensive medical care to attract international visitors and possibility of investment. 37, encourages AMS to build more resilient supply chains and more effective logistic infrastructure, as well as encouraging FDI in GVC operations on the basis of the benefits of regional division of labor, can help to strengthen cooperation even further. 38, innovates by building cooperation among the few of the ASEAN members that have the same potential economic resilience, or by strengthening the economic partnership and investing in other areas such as digital products, or by emphasizing on MSMEs growth. 39, encourages the adoption of a preemptive economic assessment measures to be implemented in each AMS through the following provisions: subclass A, subclass B, and C. 40, paragraph 40, provides cash support and debt restructuring mechanism for AMS in narrowing the development gap and to support financial arrangements that are beneficial amid the pandemic, subclass A and B. Paragraph 41 urges that the government needs to be aware of the escalation of COVID-19 cases, which is feared to be able to push back restrictions on community mobility, A, B, and C. 42 urges the adoption of a resilient ASEAN economic integration initiatives, or RAEII, by the following provisions: A, B, C, D, and E, and F. 43, assisting in the non-ASEAN foreign enterprises in expanding investment in ASEAN, building economic and trade cooperation parks in ASEAN countries, and building closer industrial and supply chains to support the Indo-Pacific Outlook implementation. A, B, and C. 44, hopes that ASEAN continues to identify and share investment and trade peers information and promote activities to encourage such comprehensive interdependence. 45, further deepen regional cooperation among AMS on renewable energy and power grid economy as an important sector for digital resilience. A, B, C, and D. Paragraph 46, realizes and adopts the following recommendation to narrow development gap and increase economic resilience by strengthening the pre-existing initiatives and policy principles. A, B, C, D, and E. And 47, the last one is to encourages the AMS to adopt an enabling environment for business to business or B2B enhancement in ASEAN through 47A, B, and C. And the next one, I pass it again to His Excellency Hino Samuel Jose.
Thank you, His Excellency. And now going back to my own pillar after backing up Dimas' part. ASEAN socio-cultural community on violation towards the freedom of speech in COVID-19 pandemic. 48, encouraging the ASEAN member states to realize the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to social injustice, political discrimination, freedom of speech, marginalization of the people of color, and inequalities that has been widened during the pandemic. 49, congratulating the government of the Kingdom of Brunei Darussalam for its successful chairmanship of the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Pillar, ASCC, during the year 2021 in advancing people-oriented regional cooperation under the theme of Free Prosper, We Prepare, and We Care. Paragraph 50, expressing our deep concern over the coronavirus disease 2019 pandemic, which has severely impacted the health, social, community, and it continues to pose imminent and unprecedented threats to regional economic growth and social development. Paragraph 51, congratulating the outstanding work of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, ICHR, ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, ASEAN IPR, ASEAN Foundation, AYAF, and ASEAN Youth Advocates Network, AYAN, regional human rights think tanks, and relevant member states' focal points, line ministerial agencies, and non-governmental organizations for their collaborative projects and works on promoting human rights governance in ASEAN. 52, congratulating the work of the dialogue partners of ASEAN in promoting human rights governance and their contribution to ASEAN. 53, emphasizing the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework and its implementation plan, ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint 2025, ASEAN Community Vision 2025, relevant roadmap and relevant joint statement as an integral part for the ASEAN on post-pandemic recovery, realizing that the freedom of speech by individual citizens and news agencies governed by the national government as an integral part of human rights holistic values and principles that should be respected by each AMS and no one should be left behind, and the freedom of speech must be maintained wherever on its implementation. 55, reminding the importance of international legal basis that is related with the freedom of speech, such as but not limited to ASEAN Human Rights Declaration, AHRD, International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, UNDRIP, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, and other international agreements and arrangements which falls under the scope of international legal treaties as defined by the Vienna Convention on the Law of the Treaties, VCLT, which fundamentally protects human rights universally, and therefore recognizing that this problem must be addressed immediately as one of the efforts to carry out the function of ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, ICHR. Realizing and noting with deep concern the growing acts of misinformation and disinformation that misinterpreted the act of freedom of speech that affect national security of AMS, appreciates and invites the ICHR platforms under the ASCC, such as ASEAN Government Organization and NGO Forum on Social Welfare and Development, ASEAN Center and partner institution, relevant UN entities, and other stakeholders to further strengthen the human rights monitoring on each AMS whilst also respecting nation sovereignty, national law. Invites all of the ASCC platform partnership NGOs and relevant stakeholders to promote future-oriented actions for human security, including on the promotion of people-to-people connectivity and partnership, whilst also ensuring that national interests and security are protected, and to further promote socio-cultural sustainability in the region, particularly to respect the freedom of speech of every citizen, with the subclauses A, B, C, scroll down, D. Paragraph 60, reaffirm the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Blueprint 2025, ASEAN Community Vision 2025, relevant roadmap and relevant joint statement as an integral part for the ASEAN and post-pandemic recovery, alongside with the sub-clauses, and implements the following mindsets as the policy implementation for AMS to understand the concerns and solutions needed to promote freedom of speech, alongside with the sub-clauses and sub-clauses, with the paragraph 62 being recommends the implementation of national internet gateway to control over the flow of information on the internet and the ability to limit access to online information or block social media sites or networks that authorities label as critical, even if those sites and social media networks provide the public with independent news or information. Please scroll down. Paragraph 63 further recommends that ASEAN implements the initiative for ASEAN integration IAI, which is carried out in the form of capacity building training, projects, institutional development assistance, policy advice, and feasibility studies for human rights governance enhancement in ASEAN. Emphasizes that all member states of ASEAN need to understand the importance of balancing human rights, political freedom, and national security with its sub-clauses. Provides journalistic education through regional workshops and any other relevant education program. Urges AMS to realize the following provisions to be adopted in promoting the rule of law. To prevent public disobedience. Scroll down, please. Recommends the implementation of the ASEAN 2 main solutions on freedom of expression, A2MS on freedom of expression, alongside with the sub-clauses. Encourages that AMS through UPR, Universal Periodic Review, to evaluate the past action and freedom of speech implementation with ICHR, alongside with its sub-clauses. Please scroll down. Emphasizes that AMS must work together with all entities to protect freedom of speech, alongside with its sub-clauses and mechanisms. Please scroll down. 70 encourages further deliberation in raising ASEAN cooperation and collaboration about implementation of the ASEAN principles that support democracy. Please scroll down. Implements the ASEAN pre-protest strategic measure, ASEAN PSM, as a solution to address protests. Please scroll down. Support, you scroll down a lot. Please, yeah. Isn't that supposed to be 71 first that I read? Okay. Yeah, okay. Apologies. Scroll down. Yeah. Last clause. Last clause, please. 72. Yeah. Supports the freedom of speech protection by ensuring the quality of journalists as one of the biggest actors with responsibilities for spreading news. The journalist is also expected to follow the ethics of journalism. There should be standards applied in their profession that are also acknowledged by the international community. Adopted in Badasri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam on the 19th day of December 2021 in a single copy in English language. Committee, could you please shut down the screen sharing, seeing that I will be sharing the docs screen to sign the thing. Can you please shut down the screen sharing? Seeing that I'm going to open the docs now.
You can share the screen, sir.
Okay.
All right, we can see your screen.
Okay,
Please.
We are going now to proceed to the signing of this draft statement before we proceed to the chairman's statement of the ARF ministerial meeting. I'm going to call one by one for each head of government to send their name to the chat box and to say that they are agreed. But before that, I would like to add my name first as the King of Brunei Darussalam. After I'm adding my name, Brunei Darussalam hereby sign the draft statement and agree to the content and its entirety as a whole. So delegates, after I call your name, you may reply to that you sign, you agree to this, and you please send your name to the chat box. Delegate of Cambodia, His Excellency or Her Excellency.
Excellency.
Cambodia, go ahead. Would you please send your name to the chat box and state your agreement to this draft statement?
I agree with this statement.
Thank you. Because it is a virtual signing, we need everyone to be consensus. Indonesia.
Excellencies, the Republic of Indonesia hereby agree and adopted the whole document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Law PDR, please send your name to the chat box. Puspidia to Pipan. Yeah. Law PDR. You are still muted if
Thank you so much, the Excellencies. I, Huspidiato Vivapan, as the head of government of the law PDR, hereby sign and adopting this particular draft statement. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Puspidiato Vipan Fan of Banjarmasin. Malaysia. Please unmute yourself for your agreement. Is Malaysia here?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
muted. Yes, Malaysia is really agree and want to sign this particular wall document. Thank you.
Thank you. As discussed previously, seeing that ASEAN will only invite non-political representative of Myanmar, therefore there will be no junta or the national unity government representative going to sign here. Instead, we're inviting the charge d'affaires of the Myanmar permanent mission to ASEAN in Jakarta, ambassador, non-political representative. Myanmar, do you sign this draft statement, ambassador?
Yes, we as Myanmar agree to sign this.
Thank you, Myanmar. His Excellency Son Paulo, Philippines.
Yes, I'm head of government from the Philippines. Philippines agree with all these statements and all these documents. Thank you.
Would you please send your name to the chat box? Thank you. And Singapore.
Thank you, Chair. I, Gofur Al Charlie, as the Prime Minister of Singapore, agree with the document that are being presented here, and thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. Vietnam, Thailand.
Thank you, Chair. Thailand, the Kingdom of Thailand also agree with this statement. Thank you, Dr. Chair.
And last is Vietnam.
Thank you, Chair. Vietnam agree with this statement. Thank you.
Could you please send your name to the chat box? Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Ms. Nguyen Cindiana Lauza Nujaiba. And now seeing that it's finished, and as the ASEAN chairman of the 2021 period, hereby Brunei Darussalam, representing its people and the people of ASEAN under the theme of We Prosper, We Prepare, and We Care for the region, hereby declare that this chairman statement and its entirety of the Model ASEAN Meeting 2021 is adopted. Online clapping is in order. But yeah, okay. Secretariat, do we have the closing remark now?
Not yet. That have each sessions after this.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Passing the time to the Secretariat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I will share the screen about the ERF final statement. Fine. All right. I welcome our chair, Mr. Raffiansyah. His Excellency Raffiansyah. Are you there? Can you open your camera?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much. Can you see my screen now?
All right, I can see your screen now.
The screen and time is yours.
All right, thank you so much, ASEAN Secretariat. And now, as the chairmanship, the same as other meetings, but we are in terms of the meeting, we are in the different side of meeting, which is the ASEAN Regional Forum. So I would like to read the joint statement from the Special ASEAN Regional Forum Ministerial Meeting, or IRFMM, the joint statement on utilizing the progressive military strategy to develop Indo-Pacific peace and security, 19 December 2021, video conference. we, the foreign ministers of ASEAN Regional Forum or IRF member countries, gather today on the occasion of the special ASEAN Regional Forum Ministerial Meeting or IRF-MM on 19 December 2021 via video conference in Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam. Recognizing each potential security threats in the Indo-Pacific region, such as but not limited illicit drugs, terrorism, countering radicalization, refugees, human trafficking, child pornography, cybersecurity, and maritime security, piracy, and border disputes. Reaffirming the imperative action to combat security threats in all its forms, source, and manifestations. Ensuring that all measures to combat security threats are in accordance with the United Nations Charter and other applicable principles of international law, including humanitarian and human rights law, without any intervention. Condemning all acts of cybersecurity threats, regardless of their motivation, support from or by any groups and or individuals whenever, wherever it happens, and by whomsoever committed as one of the most serious threats to international peace and security. Acknowledging that any and every cybersecurity threat is a destructive and devastating security issue whose magnitude and rapid spread would be exacerbated by the increasing cyber interconnectivity of actors such as individuals, communities, societies, countries, and regions in the world. Expressing serious concern over the severe challenges posed by outbreaks of infectious disease and pandemics, including the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19, which the World Health Organization or WHO declared as a pandemic on 11 March 2020 to the well-being and sustaining growth of our people, development and improvement of the education system, the development of global socio-economy and the sustainability, stability, and security of our region and the world at large. Next, you scroll down, ASEAN Secretariat. Thank you so much. So hereby endeavor to commit in the spirit of solidarity to making progress on utilizing the progressive military strategy to develop Indo-Pacific peace and security in the following ways. First, implement national and regional cybersecurity laws in accordance with IRF member countries' national condition and by referring to relevant international instruments and recommendation or guidelines for the prevention, detection, reduction, and mitigation of attacks to which they are party, including the 10 recommendations in the UN General Assembly Resolution 5563 on combating the criminal misuse of information technologies. Second, commit to continue working together in the fight against cybersecurity threats through progressive military strategy aimed at enhancing confidence-building measures among RF member countries. Third, encourage global and regional collaboration, including the sharing of best practices and technical expertise for developing security protection over cybersecurity threats. Fourth, work in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, such as regional societies, non-governmental organizations, international bodies such as the United Nations and the European Union, private companies, and any other organization to support the progressive military strategy in building capacity to prepare for responding to cybersecurity threats. Fifth, the RF participating countries and organizations decide to review the progress monthly for the first 10 years and bi-monthly thereafter of progressive military strategy to combat cybersecurity threats at subsequent RF ministerial meeting. And last, encourage foreign minister to work with relevant line agency to explore the possibility to utilize RFs and other ASEAN-led existing bodies and arrangement to prevent, detect, and respond to its cybersecurity threats and recover from their effect. Adopted on 19 December 2021 via video conference in Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam. And with that being said, we have actually has adopted in our own version in the previous session. So within this session, we only will provide the adoption in our GAFL. So with that being said, the ASEAN Regional Forum meetings under the issue to further making the safe security and peace in the Indo-Pacific region are in line with our goals. So with that being said, this joint statement of ASEAN regional meeting are adopted. Well, thank you so much for every delegate, and we wish you to see you in the closing remarks. Thank you so much. Back to ASEAN Secretariat.
Thank you so much for the final statement read for all of the chair in ASEAN meeting and our chair in ASEAN Regional Forum. So please, next committee. All right, it's wasting a lot of time and we take our focus here. So we move to other agenda. Please, committee. All right, we move to closing remarks sessions, and I welcome again His Excellencies from Brunei Darussalam representative, Hino Samuel Jose, to bring your first closing remarks, and then you lead the closing remarks for the entire ASEAN country. Time and screen is yours.
Thank you, committee. Thank you, ASEAN Secretariat. Hereby, I will resume the chairmanship again before we end for the whole 2021. I believe it is important for us to have a closing remark. Okay, and now we are going to proceed with based on alphabetical order. And now I'll be representing Brunei Darussalam, going to deliver our closing remark, and after that we can continue by the alphabetical order as prepared by the ASEAN Secretariat. Okay. Right now I'll be assuming my role as representative of Brunei Darussalam. Thank you, Excellencies, ministers, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. The world has seen a tremendous disruption brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we have seen also in ASEAN where countries are struggling to recover together, recover stronger in the post-pandemic era. However, our region managed to stay solid and resilient, although there are many homeworks to be done. This year's meeting has been very fruitful, and Brunei would like to appreciate all pillars for their outstanding work in providing betterment and solutions to our regional issues. Brunei would like to close in 4 main points, where our 3 main points will cover each pillar's deliberation, and our last point will be our hopes and expectation before we pass the gavel to Brunei Darussalam. Sorry, to Cambodia. We will not be extending our chairmanship for another year. Okay, so first of all, on behalf of the Brunei Darussalam delegation, on the issue of vaccine security, our government is very, very, very satisfied with the result, where we cover a lot of issues ranging from the countermeasure to fight against vaccine nationalism, and also to fight against the discrimination of vaccines. And we are also discussing how to procure vaccines for a sustainable future of ASEAN. Homework needs to be done. The ASEAN corridor travel arrangement is going to be adopted soon. However, we need to discuss one pertinent issue in the middle of this pandemic, which is on how we mutually recognize our vaccine, on how we are implementing safe health protocol for our people, so we can go back to the old ways, old normal, where our people is traveling in our region without hesitancy, without worry, and without having to fight against tremendous administrative or political barriers. Brunei is satisfied with the result. However, we need to strengthen further on how our vaccine procurement mechanism with COVAX is going to be strengthened. in promoting the agenda of Indonesia's presidency in 2022, which is to strengthen global health, security, and architecture. Second, in regards of the economic resilience in ASEAN, Brunei is happy because our solutions has covered many overarching important contentions, ranging from free trade areas, tariff barriers, non-tariff measures, and also other economic partnership issues that is also intertwined with investments and how we can build back our region by engaging constructively with our dialogue partners. China may be the answer, US may be the answer, and therefore, one thing for sure, ASEAN centrality should be the matter. And in regards of the freedom of speech, Brunei is happy because our proposals and member states' proposals are very, very constructive in order to deepen our human rights governance, while at the same time promoting the freedom of speech for our people. Brunei realized that not all countries in ASEAN is having a strong democratic system. Some countries, and even Brunei, might need to work more on how can we strengthen our democracy and leverage from it to mitigate future crises and to be resilient in our policy and focus. However, one thing for sure, ASEAN managed to discuss that our state superiority is still at the center. Although Brunei a bit regret regarding the proposal to monitor and also to do state surveillance for the people in ASEAN. Although this might be sound counterproductive to the notion of freedom of speech, however, it is still needed as the security in our region is the utmost priority. And going to my last point, hopes and expectations to the Cambodian chairmanship. I do recognize that ASEAN centrality has been tested by many interventions from external partners in our region. In Indo-Pacific, for example, the recent growing concern of AUKUS, South China Sea, the Quad Plus proposal, and other geopolitical issues are still haunting us. How can we move forward? ASEAN centrality, strategic autonomy, and our solidarity. Brunei perceived that those three are the important keys in order to unlock the needed solutions to promote our regional sufficiency in fighting against geopolitical rivalry. We believe that Cambodia will have to work better than us to prepare our region in fighting against the new variants of COVID-19, on how we can restore back our regional connectivity and how they advance the main interests of CLMV, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam, and the Mekong sub-region to prosper and to cope up with the increasing purchasing power parity and GDP of the other ASEAN member states that are more developed. It is important to narrow the development gap. It is important also to realize the master plan on ASEAN Connectivity 2025, and also to prepare in welcoming the ASEAN Community Vision, in which we have approximately less than 4 years to achieve. And with this scaffold comes big responsibility. However, Brunei believes that Cambodia is capable and we are ready to welcome their chairmanship for a better ASEAN. After we care, we prepare, and we prosper, we are ready to thunder everywhere as a region. And hereby, I close my remark, and hereby, I close our chairmanship. Alhamdulillah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you all. I thank you very much. We will going to the next speaker, which is the next chairman of Cambodia. Coincidentally, now we welcome His Excellency, the head of government of Cambodia, to have the floor.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On this opportunity, I'd like to deliver a result of our discuss from the Cambodia. But after the pandemic, in every sector, politics, economics, and social. But before that, to the Honorable Chairman, to the Honorable all the head of government of ASEAN, I would like to say thank you for attending and giving me the floor. First, we're gonna talk about politics. In this sector, we talk about the problem affecting appetite in Brunei. According to ASEAN Vaccine Security and Self-Reliance, or AVSSR, they'll find way to solve this problem. And for Myanmar, who had distribution in the vaccinated thing also. And after that, we're going to economy. In the AEC sector, must develop and expand economic networks with big countries such as China, Japan, and USA. Moreover, regarding exports and imports, it is one way to accelerate the increase in a country's economy because a country will be interdependent and need each other. All aspects related to the country's economy have become common goals and decisions. And the last sector is a social culture. In the ACC, freedom of speech are valid and all Asian members, such as government, non-government organizations, Asian communities, are to make policies or law that can protect the freedom of expression. Furthermore, the non-government must work together with government to implement the right of freedom of speech. It's our great hope to keep our partnership open for the common welfare. With development, strategy, and powerful mission and vision, we are confident we can all reach the goal together. Another hope is the relationship between countries ASEAN has always been best relationships without major conflicts. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, His Excellency Cambodia. And hereby, I'm going to call His Excellency the great honor from Banjarmasin and the Lao PDR, Mr. Huspidiato Fipan Anwar Gemadia. You may have the floor.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Good evening, Excellencies, ASEAN heads of state and government, their Excellencies, ASEAN Secretariat and the Chairmans, their Excellencies, ASEAN Prime Minister, distinguished delegates and ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and people of the Lao PDR, it is my great honor and privilege to deliver my remarks in the closing ceremony of today's ASEAN Protocol meeting. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with our topic once again, connectivity as strategy on recovering from COVID-19, the Lao PDR wants to emphasize one of the core values manifested within the Master Plan of the ASEAN Connectivity 2025, in which it reaffirmed the physical connectivity, people-to-people connectivity, and institutional connectivity. Although a huge adaptation is needed for the establishment of a resilient ASEAN region. During the past 2 days, we had a comprehensive and a great discussion on strengthening and advancing the ASEAN community, maintaining and promoting ASEAN's relevance as well as ASEAN's centrality in its external relations, especially in evolving the resilient region. We also exchange views in a candid manner on regional and international issues of common interest and concern. With such predicament and unprecedented challenges, we adopted and noted various frameworks, initiations, ideas, partnerships, and dialogues across the 3 pillars of the ASEAN community for the betterment of our region. As we strive for a more progressive development, Lao PDR hopes that within the international, regional, and sub-regional level, we could still have a good cooperation among the IMS, international organization, stakeholders, and also dialogue partners. Ladies and gentlemen, building upon existing efforts by individual ASEAN member states and that of the ASEAN community, we hereby concluded 3 points, which are, firstly, ensuring the vaccine security and the inclusion of the distribution of the vaccines through the statement made within the ASEAN Political Security Community. This particular statement then includes several frameworks such as but not limited to the ASEAN Leaders Declaration on Vaccine Security and Self-Reliance and TRIPS Agreement or the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights. This shall ensure the capacity building measure, fact-checking, monitoring process, mitigation process, early warning system, evaluation, and other measurements for the insurance of each ASEAN member state capability regarding vaccine and other public health-related policies. Furthermore, manufacturers and other related stakeholders that have the capability should ensure the technology, research and development, quality control, and medical equipment for the production of vaccines at the national level should be ensured. This shall be then further coordinated under the relevant entities such as through the ASEAN Health Ministers Meeting and other relevant task force. Secondly, in the ASEAN Economic Community, we have taken into further consideration pertaining to IMS domestic manufacturing, distribution, and market capabilities, shares, and size in substantiating intra-ASEAN trade cooperation. Multi-stakeholders consideration and multi-dimensional challenges will be ensured through evidence-based and multi-criteria decision-making process. E-commerce, MSMEs, public and private partnership, FDI are several of the notions that fall under the discussion of this community. With a thorough deliberation, the law PDR hopes this particular statement could ensure the economic resilience in the ASEAN region. Thirdly, concerning the freedom of speech amidst the pandemic, the ASEAN socio-cultural community taking into further consideration any misinformation, propaganda, hoax news, and any relevant wrongful acts disguised under the so-called freedom of speech. So it must be tackled by each member state through each state's law enforcement measure, national legislation, and other relevant provision pertaining to that. In cognizance of freedom of speech, it must be acknowledged that through the current statement, the ASEAN member state has committed to provide the freedom of speech accordingly, without undermining the national security and other relevant provisions under each national jurisdiction. This will be balanced by further inviting and congratulating a magnificent ongoing work of the role of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, its national human rights commissions and related ministries and local agencies for guaranteeing the basic freedom of expression in each member state. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I would like to quote the statement of the Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc as the previous chairman of the ASEAN 2020, in which ASEAN community is demonstrating its solidarity and mutual assistance, standing shoulder to shoulder to overcome hardship manifested in the ASEAN chairman statement on collective response to the COVID-19 outbreak. In regard to this matter, strengthening our cooperation on socio-economic development while also maintaining the connectivity of each relevant actor will be our utmost goals after this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, I trust that under Cambodia's chairmanship in 2022, under His Excellency Prime Minister Hun Sen, on this auspicious occasion, I wish the best of luck to your chairmanship next year. Thank you.
Thank you, representative of Law PDR. And next to speak is representative of the Republic of Indonesia, the next chairman 2023. Indonesia, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
You are muted, sir.
Sorry. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Sultan of Brunei Darussalam, His Excellency Chair, Excellency Head of Government and Head of State of ASEAN Member State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of ASEAN, senior official, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the Republic of Indonesia would like to express its gratitude and congratulate to the Negara Brunei Darussalam for successfully holding the ASEAN Summit under its chairmanship from the December 18 and December 19, 2021. The Republic of Indonesia also would like to express its gratitude and congratulate the ASEAN member state and ASEAN leader for successfully deliberating its manner and negotiation cooperatively for the good of ASEAN member states. We also welcome and expect our support to the Kingdom of Cambodia as the next 2022 ASEAN Summit, and we wish for the successfully 2020 ASEAN Summit. For the very first, the Republic of Indonesia strongly believes that ASEAN will present comprehensive solution to answer our common challenge. We are pleased that all ASEAN member states addressing the importance of making vaccine as a global commodity and strengthening the regional health security framework alongside welcoming strategic partnership with other countries or regional and international bodies. Again, the COVID-19 crisis alongside promoting better preparedness and respond for the future outbreak. As the result of ASEAN social cultural community, we welcome the agreement of ASEAN to continue to support the enjoyment of freedom of speech by balancing the importance of human rights, political freedom, and national security based on each member state and national interest of constitution. We also pleased with the final result in ASEAN Economic Council to address economic cooperation and further economic resilience with the promotion of green economy, strengthening ASEAN comprehensive recovery framework alongside the building partnership and investment with other related partners with enduring ASEAN centrality. We understand that in order to address consensus with all ASEAN member states is a challenging. Difference of opinion, political stances, and heavy negotiation is sure thing during the summit. But again, ASEAN successfully aware answer that all differences are nothing but only to make ASEAN unite, resilient, prosper, and develop further. And we are really pleased and welcome the adoption of the final chairman statement of the ASEAN Summit that has been agreed by all ASEAN member states virtually. Through the summit, history will remember how the leader of ASEAN showed their commitment and sent important message to the global community how resilient ASEAN is to unite and continue its effort to answer every challenge and bring prosperity to all member states even during the challenging time. Last, the Republic of Indonesia announced that the 18th until 19th ASEAN Summit in 2021 successfully closed, and we forward when we looking forward to meeting again in the next ASEAN Summit in 2022 under the Cambodian chairmanship. May God bless you all. Thank you, and I salute you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Delegate of Indonesia. Thank you, His Excellency. And next is the government of Malaysia. I invite Yang Berhormat, Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Nak cakap nih sekarang ya. Yang Berhormat, His Excellency from Malaysia, you may have the floor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening. Excellencies, Head of State, Government, ASEAN Secretariat and the Chairman, distinguished guests or delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and people of Malaysia, this is an honor for me to deliver my closing remarks in front of all ASEAN leaders on ASEAN virtual meeting. This privilege can help me to warmly congratulate you two for all your energy, for all your effort, for all your spirit on ASEAN virtual meeting. We would like to congratulate Brunei Darussalam for successfully hosting this year's meeting, despite the current pandemic, and that's why Asian value still could be preserved. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we did a great job. Why? At least there are three reasons. Because some of you bring a good solution that never have been addressed before. Because some of you bring an elaboration from Asian past solution with a new mechanism. Because some of you bring a good collaboration that lead us to produce new solution to recover from COVID-19. That's why Malaysia is trying our best to contribute to this meeting. For instance, in APSC, propose some clauses that ensure equal vaccine distribution and health protocol, so Southeast Asia country could eradicate vaccine apartheid. In AEC, we're trying to increase the integration of economy between South Asia countries by decrease the obstacle and gain more partner non-Asian member. Last but not least, in ASCC, we propose some clauses that try to find the middle ground between freedom of speech and national stability by ensuring good substance of speech, so the hoax and misleading news can be reduced but still ensure every single citizen rights to speak. Malaysia also believe all of you do the same, that is trying to solve the problem with a great innovation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I know that adjusting the international framework with national regulation is not that easy. Yes, I know there are some challenges such as internal political situation, economic problem, and also COVID-19 that may disrupt the process of our integration. But what we are doing for today will be nothing without your action. Solution will remain as document that never change anything. Let's take a simple logic. In science, remember the third law of Newton? Yes, the result is equal to effort. But in social science, implementation is the part of the effort. So if we want to achieve a higher result, we must higher our implementation of our solution. That's also the main differentiation between dreamer and achiever. That's make what a successful person different with a non-successful people because of the implementation of their idea. So implementation is the key. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I believe only by working together with ASEAN member states, we can solve this problem. I believe only by implementation of solution from this meeting, we can achieve a vision. I believe we utilize previous Asian framework, such as but not limited to Asian Blueprint 2025, Asian Human Rights Declaration, Asian Comprehensive Recovery Framework, Asian Implementation Plan, and Asian Charter. I believe after this meeting, we can take real action that can solve the problem and balance national interests with regional cooperation. Cambodia is therefore honored to accept the chairmanship from Brunei Darussalam. I believe under Cambodia and His Excellencies Norodom Sihamoni, ASEAN still has a great cooperation like this. I wish best luck for your chairmanship next year. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. Thank you.
Shukron, representative of Malaysia, and the Pertuan Agong for Muhammad Rizki. Now we are going to move to the next speaker. Owing to the fact that currently we are inviting the non-political representative of Myanmar, I hereby invite the Charge d'Affaires of Myanmar in the Permanent Mission of Myanmar in Jakarta. His Excellency Ambassador, you may have the floor.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, that take place on MAM UP 2021. Mingalaba. As head of government for Myanmar, I would like to thank all the wonderful delegates that take place on MAM UP 2021. Already for last 2 days, all of you guys taking your weekend just for joining these meetings. To the Honorable Chairman of MAM UP 2021, the Honorable Sultan of Brunei Darussalam, to the Honorable all of the head of government of ASEAN member. As the head of government of Myanmar, I would like to thank all the ASEAN country that decided chairman statement that helped Myanmar on economic, socio-cultural, and political security, especially on bilateral relation, COVID vaccine distribution, and the press freedom that indirectly saying that ASEAN country recognized Myanmar government on ASEAN meeting. And I believe with the sign of the statement can help Myanmar future become clear and more promising. We Myanmar is very welcome and delightful for every ASEAN member that want to take place on bilateral relation with us, and we will take it seriously. It's been an honor for Myanmar to be in this meeting. Thank you for Cambodia and the other ASEAN country for having partnership with us. I wish it would be going on last to decrease and prevent the COVID-19 issue and impact. With United ASEAN, we can solve this together. That's all for my closing remarks. Me, as delegate of Myanmar, want to apologize if there was incorrect sentence that caused a problem. We also want to give big thanks for all the participants. Last but not least, we also want to thank the committee to help this MAM UP 2021. I know it's not easy to help international event online. That's all. Thank you for the attention. Good night. See you on the next MAM UP ASEAN Summit Cambodia 2022.
Thank you, Representative of Myanmar. Next to speak, we invite the President of the Republic of Philippines, His Excellency, Mr. Fino Duterte. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of this conference meetings. Throughout the conference, we have shared and discussed our perspectives on economic, socio-cultural, and political security issues in Southeast Asia. We have studied each other's views. I'm sure that our sharing of knowledge and perspectives will contribute to the policy-making processes of the countries concerned. We should be proud of ourselves to achieve something that will contribute to a stable situation in all countries. The government of Philippines will propose their solutions in order to support ASEAN as connectivity on recovering from COVID-19. From ASEAN Political Security Committee, in terms of vaccine supply security, the Philippines is in line with the policy of the ASEAN COVID-19 response fund by sending free vaccines in its program. Namely, the ASEAN recognizes reserves of medical supplies for public health emergencies. And for the ASEAN Economic Community, the Philippine Statistical Authority reported Tuesday, August 10th, that GDP growth in the second quarter was the highest since 1988. This collaboration with the ASEAN's country systems has also produced evidence of the Philippines' economic growth. For the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community, about freedom of expressions, as stated in Article 23 of the ASEAN's Human Rights Declarations, it states that everyone has the right to express their views, freedom to define, seek, receive, and provide information unimpeded, whether by verbal, written, or other means of the person's choice. We have a different perspective, but we are all one thing in common. We all want to see a stable region where countries can comfortably seek peace and prosperity in this time of pandemic. I firmly believe that we can build our better future by working together based on our commonness. Building connectivity in all ASEAN countries which will strengthen to continue to build economic resilience and maintaining culture in the Philippines with all ASEAN countries together during this COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to thank all to the delegates here and the PLS of Philippines and all governments for supporting and assisting in the benefits of this conference. I hope Philippines and the ASEAN countries make economic changes and maintain culture across Southeast Asian countries during the current pandemic. That's all from Head of Government Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you. And now the second last speaker, we're going to the representative of Singapore. Sorry, the third last speaker, Singapore, Thailand, and then after that, Vietnam. Singapore, you may have the floor.
Thank you for the time, Chair. As the head of government of Singapore, I want to say the deepest appreciation and gratitude for Brunei for the outstanding chairmanship and other delegates here, especially in the Council of ASCC during the senior official meeting and ministerial meeting where delegates other from Brunei, such as Laos PDR, Malaysia, and Philippines, and any other delegates contributed greatly in constructing a constructive and comprehensive amendment of the draft. Furthermore, during ASEAN Coordinating Council meeting, the head of government of delegates here has also contributed their insight whether we agree the continuations of the clauses and sub-clauses that are being disputed. Surely, there was a debate, an intense one, of course, but we handled it accordance of the Asian way and principles in the form of consultative and consensus-based. Regarding the three topics within three pillars that are discussed for 2 days since yesterday and today, all of the delegates that are involved in the discussion handle it professionally, and they are also keep their diplomatic manners intact. In the ASEAN Political Security Council, or APSC, they discuss about countering vaccine apartheid by asserting the security of vaccine supply among ASEAN member states. They discuss many things such as encouraging vaccine and health literacy within the ASEAN community, where it should be known that this issue of vaccine and health literacy is a threat that all of us face since the pandemic began. Other solutions such as urging a quick response of vaccine mobilization, establishment of International Security Act or ASEAN ISA, and any other solution that has been decided within the realm of APSE will make the issue of vaccine apartheid decrease tremendously. In ASEAN Economic Community or AAC, they discuss about establishing ASEAN economic cooperation toward the future economic resilience, whether it should be noted that this pandemic affected deeply to the economical sectors of ASEAN member states, and thus cooperation is a must. Singapore will highlight that the issue of cooperation with China to deepen ties is a good solution because they are our strategic partner. Furthermore, other solutions that are inputted within the realms of AAC are comprehensive enough to be carried on. Lastly, in the ASEAN Sociocultural Community or ASCC, where they discuss about the violation of freedom of speech during the COVID-19 pandemic, there are many things that are discussed. But to summarize the topic that are being discussed here, we found a consensus within the discussion that the freedom of speech that is governed by each ASEAN member states is essential, and any misinterpreted form of freedom of speech that violate the national law of the true freedom of speech by ASEAN member states is recognized and will be acted upon according to each ASEAN member state's own national law. In the end, all the three pillars that are being discussed in the meetings have met the national interest of Singapore. We hope that this final draft of this document can benefit ASEAN fully and further make ASEAN as a beacon that shines brightly for a Southeast Asian country. We hope that the next chairmanship of Cambodia will bring a good fortune to the ASEAN countries as whole. The Singapore would like to quote the first Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew: "A nation is great, not by the size alone. It is the will, the cohesion, the stamina, the discipline of its people, and the quality of their leader, which ensure it an honorable place in history." And all of the head of government here have displayed a great leadership. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Singapore. Now we are going to move forward to the Thailand. And everyone, I kindly ask everyone to kindly oblige the 5 minutes limit because we have to wrap up and we have still the ARF delegates, which has more number than us. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Yes, Thailand, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. His Excellencies, the ASEAN Chairman, the ASEAN Secretary General, distinguished ASEAN member states, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, the Kingdom of Thailand would like to express gratitude to the Brunei Darussalam for successfully in the chairing in this ASEAN Summit for this year. Furthermore, the Kingdom of Thailand also would like to congratulate the Cambodia as the next year chairmanship. In these 2 day sessions, the leaders, the ministers of Asian countries has discussed a wide range of decisive and concrete measures to advance cooperation to respond after the adversities facing by ASEANs, including the COVID-19 pandemic. At these summits, we have also reached a consensus on various important elements, reaffirms its strong multilateral cooperations and economic connectivity. We also have shared our perspective on emerging regional and also international issues. 2020 and 2021 has been a truly challenging year. We know that no one is safe until everyone is. We have to save each other to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic that caused problems towards our countries. However, the capacity and pace among the countries in tackling the COVID-19 and also the economic resiliencies is diverse widely. We must solve these issues in concrete steps and in excellent solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, and the excellencies, the numerous important decisions we adopted are based on the three pillars. On the first pillars, on the vaccines problem political pillars, Thailand are fully support to these decisions, starting from establishing the joint task force for the production of quality COVID-19 vaccines to be distributed fairly across Asian member states and support the rapid industrialization in the rapid production and distribution of the COVID-19 vaccines. In the economic future resilience, Thailand would like to support and encourage to strengthening the economic partnership, especially to invest in areas such as digital products, transferring the technologies, emphasizing on MSME's growth and export-import programs. Besides that, the adoption of resilient ASEAN economic integration initiative are emphasized to prepare if there is continuing pandemic, which is endemic or epidemic. So the ASEAN member states may apply the provisions such as to maximize the use of the COVID-19 vaccines, encouraging the international trade, and also applying the ICRF to build resilience on the economy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Kingdom of Thailand also agree and support to this statement and also support to have resorted the new regulation and existing laws. Reaffirms that the ASCC Blueprint 2025, ASEAN Community Vision 2025, and also implement the following mindsets as the policy implementation for ASEAN member states to understand the concerns and solution to promote freedom of speech. Lastly, the Kingdom of Thailand would like to express gratitude to all of the Asian members who have supports and sharing the ideas to tackle the international or regional issues. Hopes, together, we can rise from these difficult situations. Let us work together, recover together, and recover stronger. Thank you in advance. Back to Chair.
Thank you to the representative of Thailand. And last, we are going to entertain the same troika of the ASEAN chairman, Vietnam. Vietnam, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. To the Honorable Chairman, to the Honorable Head of Government, ASEAN member, and to all the delegates. As the head of Vietnam's government, I want to say thank you very much for the cooperation that has been carried out during this forum. Thank you for taking your time and talk to try to find the best solution regarding efforts to recover from COVID-19, especially in the ASEAN region. Through this forum, we agreed that the main key in the success of the recovery due to COVID is to establish good cooperation between countries and even between communities. With good cooperation, a decision or policy will run well and effectively. In this forum, we have also made several amendments which are expected to be a bridge to a stronger and better ASEAN, especially in handling the pandemic. In this forum, we were able to produce about 72 amendments containing strategies to be able to recover and adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic in the fields economies, political, security, and social culture. We emphasize the importance of cooperation in achieving a success. For example, in the economic field, we build cooperation between countries and develop the world of trade through online sales that know distant limits. In the field of political security, by strengthening the health system and access to care, as well as in the social cultural field, by emphasizing the importance of upholding human rights, political freedom, and national security. Hopefully, with the approval of some of the amendments that we discussed yesterday, we can apply them wisely and they can really improve the post-COVID-19 condition and can strengthen relation between countries in ASEAN. With representative from Vietnam believe that the ASEAN can be more advanced, better, and more united than now. The potential that exists in each ASEAN region have great potential to become developed countries with the characteristic of each country. And for all, congratulations to all ASEAN success is in our hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Vietnam. And hereby, with that being said, with Vietnam ending the speeches, and now officially we are going to close the session for the ASEAN pillars. But however, please do stay in the meeting because I think we need to observe the ARF and then we have to have the documentation session. Because of the time that we're having right now, we will not be having the closing box session because we need to end before 10 p.m. Thank you. And hereby, I now close the whole chairmanship of the ASEAN 2021. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, everyone. Officially closing it. Now I'm handing the floor to His Excellency Ambassador of Lancia. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, Mr. Hino Samuel Jose. And yep, as the time here we gather for the closing remarks for specifically ASEAN Regional Forum. And as the host country, we, the delegate of Brunei, would like to open the closing remark first, and then we'll be later on be appointed to other ASEAN Regional Forum members countries, which only represented by 3 countries, which is a delegate of North Korea, Papua New Guinea, and Singapore. And now we will start our speech first. Excellencies, ASEAN College, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, Brunei would like to appreciate each IRF member countries for their attendance in today's agenda. It is such a full honor to serve as the host country for this year's ASEAN Regional Forum meeting. Secondly, we would like to cherish the valuable discussion and active contribution by our ASEAN Regional Forum member countries. We have come to an incredible conclusion that address peace and security challenges we have been facing, not just as a country, but as an Indo-Pacific region amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Things have changed drastically in the region. Cybersecurity threats are emerged as one of destructive threats to every country. And we would like to congratulate all of the RF member countries for giving their perspective regarding the solution to overcome the specific issue. It is an honor to be given the opportunity to speak here today in our chairmanship, and we certainly look forward to the other ASEAN Regional Forum member countries' chairmanship next year. We hope to work and collaborate hand in hand to attain the utmost prosperity with all of you. In the end, even though ASEAN Regional Forum member countries has a different language variety, but we always keep the spirit of unity in diversity. Thank you so much for your attention. Long live ASEAN, long live Indo-Pacific region. Thank you so much. And now we will continue to our next countries that will present their speech, which is the delegate of North Korea. The delegate of North Korea, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The delegate of North Korea is very grateful for today. We have learned a lot of new things from the ARF conference, both from the chair and from my fellow delegates, especially from the delegate of Singapore. The little debate that we had was really interesting. North Korea hoped that it was going to be longer, though, but it is great that we can agree at the end. The delegate of North Korea also wishes that the conference will be a bit longer. One day is not enough, but that is okay. Moving on, the delegate of North Korea believes that after this conference, we will have better peace and security security in the Indo-Pacific region, where we have discussed solutions that we can implement in the Indo-Pacific region about the military and about cybercrimes during and after the pandemic. We also have discussed organizations that we will work with to get rid of this issue. North Korea hopes that the new laws and regulations will be implemented correctly and that everything is going to be smoothly. It's going to be implemented smoothly. The delegate of North Korea would like to apologize if he said something wrong that offended other delegates, and that we also cannot wait to work with other delegates and the chair in the future. North Korea would also like to say thank you to Pertamina University for hosting this event. Well, other than that, the delegate of North Korea found a quote that probably fits today's era of conference. Who dares wins, who sweats wins, who plans wins. And it's from the British Special Air Service, or the SAS. We believe that this correlates with the solutions that we have come up with, and that this quote is a reminder for us to implement it as soon as possible. Once again, the North Korea would like to say thank you.
Thank you so much, the representative for North Korea. Now we will give the floor to the representative of Papua New Guinea. To delegate of Papua New Guinea, you may proceed.
Yes. Okay, I'm here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the Honorable, the Secretary General of MAM UP 2021, Chair of Head of Government, Chair of HRF, and all the committee. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to give a closing remarks tonight. Then I would like to thank all the delegates and representatives from their respective countries for good cooperation and very interesting discussion. I'm Zora Mawarani, representative from Papua New Guinea. I want to give an impression for today's activities. The current pandemic situation can really give us much benefit. There are several issues that need to be resolved, including in the geopolitical issues. I realize a situation like this that lead us to have a meeting like this, and I'm quite grateful for today's outcome. The strategies have been determined, which will certainly provide many benefits. As for several decisions that have been made as conveyed by the HRF chair, we agree and support the progressive use of the military to create a safe and secure Indo-Pacific in several ways, by implying, committing, collaborating with fellow members, and collaborating with outside parties. We believe that ASEAN will be able to create a peaceful and secure Indo-Pacific environment. This kind of collaboration and cooperation will have a good impact not only for our goals, but also in accordance with the UN SDG as 2030. Thus, I have high hopes. I have high hopes after this decision, the Indo-Pacific will be safer and more comfortable. That's all I can say, and thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, thank you so much, the representative of Papua New Guinea. And the last one to represent the speech from the Arab meeting is the delegate of Singapore. To the delegate of Singapore, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable President, His Excellency King of Brunei, delegates of the ARF, other delegates from other ASEAN branches who are here with us today, we are deeply honored as the delegation of the Republic of Singapore to be speaking in this forum in front of all the committees. We believe in the importance of this draft resolution, this joint statement, in order to ensure that the progressive military strategy is used properly to develop Indo-Pacific peace and security. The Indo-Pacific region is a large region. It spans all the way from the eastern coast of Africa to the South China Sea, and multiple countries face diverse problems. We have seen countries in Africa, Asia, even Oceania, like for example, Ethiopia, Afghanistan. We have seen them end up in civil wars, and we believe that this strategy will help them to rebuild their nations. We have seen cases of maritime disputes, piracy incidents, and we believe that this joint statement will help also to be able to mitigate the effects of these activities, which we strongly condemn. We believe that this will also help to be able to reduce digital technology misuse, such as malware and hacking from third parties, such as whether it be sponsored by governments or non-state actors. We recognize that cybersecurity laws in accordance with ARF countries, whether regional or national, are extremely important to ensure that such instances are completely eradicated or gradually eradicated. We have seen multiple cases of hacking occur, and Singapore is no stranger to this. And we have seen it happen to even the most developed of countries like China. Nonetheless, we believe that this clause in this draft statement will help us to be able to solve this problem, and we seek the cooperation of all countries. Clause 2 requests the commitment of all countries to work together in the fight against cybersecurity threats through progressive military strategy aimed at enhancing confidence building measures among ARF member countries. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and we believe once again the importance of cooperation between countries. Because if one country or any country is unwilling to cooperate, and if all countries are unwilling to cooperate, then these offenders will be able to get away scot-free, and such instances are harming our economy, our security, and our citizens. We also have highlighted this importance in Clause 4, which allows us to work with NGOs, international bodies such as the UN and the EU, private companies, and any other organization or individual, and they will help to support us through our implementation of the progressive military strategies. And we also encourage all countries to help with collaboration, global and regional collaboration. We wish for them to participate in the sharing of best practices and technical expertise to counter such instances. We also request that the ARF participating countries and organizations review the progress monthly for the first 10 years and bi-monthly thereafter. We believe that this is important. Through the negotiations, we agreed that's important, that we have to meet more frequently in the first 10 years because this is the beginning of our policy, and we need to be able to ensure that the progress is tracked accordingly. And we will shorten the frequency of the meeting by half to bi-monthly after this 10 years. The final clause is nonetheless also very important. We want foreign ministers to work with relevant line agencies to explore the possibility to utilize ARFs and other ASEAN-led existing bodies and arrangements to prevent, detect, and respond to cybersecurity threats and recover for their effects. While we believe that this joint statement has not covered too much on other threats like piracy, or it has not covered on threats such as wars and solving conflicts, we have trusted this to the committees of the APSC and other ASEAN bodies in this committee, and we are pleased to see that their draft statement or their recently adopted statement, and we do congratulate them for adopting it. We do realize that that will be able to help us solve this aspect of the issue, and we are pleased. The delegation of Singapore is pleased that we'll be able to at least find some sort of refuge when it comes to such an important measure. The delegate once again wholeheartedly thanks all delegates for their participation. Most importantly, the delegation of North Korea for providing the important inputs from a country which rarely provides the political stances and agendas. And we thank the chair for being such a wonderful guide. And thank you very much to all delegates. The delegate of Singapore will end his speech here. And once again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Delegate of Singapore, for the comprehensive speech. We just have been acknowledged. The Delegate of China is here and will be presenting the last speech. So we welcome to Delegate of China for giving their closing remarks. Delegate of China, you may proceed.
Okay, so thank you for the time. I'm Alia from Delegates of China. So I think I just have the short close remarks. So from the discussion earlier with several delegates discussed many things, starting from the global crisis, cybercrime, as well as the impact and solutions of how the state overcomes this during this COVID-19 pandemic, and each country has its own opinion and assessment where it can open our minds to can think critically more broadly, and each country has the good explanation, the good statement, and it might to open our minds more broadly and more open-ended with the critic in the global. And I think I'm sorry, I'm not I'm not prepared many things like this, but I just wanna tell that you did a great job. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of China. With that being said, that is our chairmanship for ASEAN Regional Forum, and we look forward for next year chairmanship. And with that being said, we only conclude one single word for ASEAN Regional Forum. Long live peace and prosperity. Back to ASEAN Secretariat.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Raffiansyah, our head of government in Brunei Darussalam representing. So we move to the next agenda, please. Yeah, we see all of you feel sleepy, right? Also me too. And this is the time we read the gossip box, guys. There's a lot of gossip spill here, so I will share the screen and I welcome all of our chair.
Actually,
Who will be the lead?
Dia, do not share the screen. Actually, do not share the screen. Let me just read it. Yeah. Because kalau gini nanti yang foto itu kelihatan nanti. I have a to do that. Yeah.
All right. Just look at this. Can you give the authority to?
By the way, guys, the link is already in the chat box. You guys can see the chat box. I already shared the link. Please submit gossips now to be read. You know, we will not be having this too long. Yeah, I think below 20 minutes ya, because you know, we need to besok sekolah yang SMA ya. Ya, ada sekolah yang ini besok kerja magang ya, jadi kuliah, jadi apa? We need to keep it concise but comprehensive ya. By the way, pertama-tama North Korea dapat salam. IRF North Korea, you got a message and someone is simping for you. Someone said, North Korea ARF, are you a magician? Because when I'm looking at you, you make everyone else disappear. Oh, my God. And then, you know, we have a gossip also. Chair Rafli, tahun depan sebar undangan loh guys, siapin amplop ya, 10.000. Congratulations, Rafli. As we discussed in the back room back then, yeah. If it is reachable, we will come, of course.